The people who had control over me were the people who were tracking me and who were trying to scare me to not expose them. I was injured. 300 milligrams of Seroquel is enough to kill a horse. This was the second assassination attempt, and Judith and Christina paid Aaron Filler to give me that. So all these people have been involved in wanting to hurt me. I mean, there's no way, every which way, my family is connected to Epstein. Jack Nicholson, a few times he'd let me stay at Mulholland to give me I needed a safe place. So Jack tried to protect me. He also told me to promise to write a book about my life. I think he made me promise to write it because he wanted me to stay alive.
Hello and welcome to Ego is Here. This is part 2 of my deep dive with Paz de la Huerta, actress, model, survivor, and courageous voice. We'll explore her journey further and the challenges she is still facing. So, Paz, you said you have updates and that you feel your life may still be in danger.
My life is definitely still in danger. And this is what all this corruption has done to my life, what fraudulent lawyers, what corrupt journalists did covering up my family's crimes during the Me Too movement has done. So-called fake feminists that are all in the Epstein files, like Jane Fonda and, Rosanna Arquette and Amanda DeCatterday, ignoring my story. Here's the thing. I haven't committed any crimes. I don't know how any person with a heart can watch footage of an ambulance striking a young, beautiful woman and not feel angry about it, or see those bruises on my body from my father 4 years ago, or the MRI of the brain injury. I have survived many assassination attempts, and whoever has turned a blind eye to my story is a Satanist, and they have put my life in danger. They have put my life in danger. And, I've literally had a spiritual experience a number of times. I'm devoutly Christian, and that is what has saved me. It's time these people pay for what they've done. I just was in Paris. My exploiters, my mother, Christina, my father, never thought I would escape them. So, these people practice something called Darvo techniques. Darvo is something that victims of satanic ritual abuse need to be educated about. Had I learned how to respond to Darvo when I was a child, I would have saved myself a lot of suffering.
Can you explain what Darvo is?
Darvo is
a way of manipulating somebody?
It's a manipulation tactic. It's all about intimidating someone. If they don't acknowledge that they've ever done wrong, they deflect. I think it's deny, attack, something else. It's very dangerous, and basically it's a narcissistic trait. It's a sociopathic trait, and there's no, you can't rationalize with the narcissist. There's no amount of healing to be done. You just have to get the fuck away. You have to,
Paz, tell me what happened in Paris.
Oh yeah, I'm still traumatized. So, what Judith did when I removed Aaron Filler, and by the way, I've retained a lawyer in Los Angeles, was she purposely kept all of my very valuable belongings, like, a portrait Jack Nicholson painted of me, a portrait Francesco Clemente painted of me, my clothes, my art. And when I first got away, I had one lawyer called Armando Lorenz. He was definitely paid off. And as long as she knows someone that knows me,
Hmm.
she's able to find me. Get it?
Of course.
And she held on to my belongings. It's all about control, 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 control. She held on to my belongings so that, I could welcome in more depraved people that I don't even know to get them and then receive my belongings from them. How am I to know, you know, if they could pay off Lionsgate, if they could pay off a number of corrupt lawyers, they could pay off anyone. And, I feel very naive because about 5 months ago, since I've been safe, I've been trying to find people I can trust. And this girl entered my life and she really fit the prototype of the kind of woman that has done the most damage to me.
Hmm.
Let's just say the the kind of women my family employed to traffic me, the assistants, the handlers, were always these women without boyfriends, very insecure, very vain, that looked at me like they wanted to be me and they were envious. And this is very dangerous. So, 5 months ago, here I am hiding in a foreign country. I don't want to disclose, though a lot of people know what country I'm in now, but nobody knows where the farm is. And she comes here for my birthday. And just the way she looked at me, her fake tits to here, big mouth. I don't know her. And she starts, things just weren't adding up. She agreed to talk to the police in France because I filed the suit there about incest. She never
Hmm.
saw my father rape me, but I met her in 2018 when I was being drugged and had the brain injury, right?
Yes.
And she always wanted pictures with me. And this girl is really tacky. And I feel so naive about what just happened. And I feel so foolish that I fell for this. And I definitely dodged a bullet. So, pretending, the name of the game is deceit. And this is why I need protection. So she spoke to the authorities. Then in Madrid, I testified against my father and Judith and Christina for the trafficking 4 years ago. She comes to Madrid. My aunt, who I do trust,
Hmm.
she thought she was pretty strange. Here we are. I've made it evidently clear a number of times. No photographs. No photographs. I have a
You're saved.
statement.
Yes.
I have a statement that Judith is asking people for recent photographs of me to run a textual analysis to locate me because there's a hit on my life. I posted this paper on my TikTok. Now, here she is taking pictures, taking pictures. I'm like, stop. It was ridiculous. Puts her boobs up to here. At court, it's about me. Even my lawyer was like, she can't come in the courtroom. I do trust my lawyer in Madrid. So, I just feel so naive because she totally fit the type of person my family would pay to do their dirtiest work, a vampire.
So what
So I
happened?
so I had a photo shoot in Paris, and before I went, I had a very bad feeling. I kept seeing photos of Princess Diana everywhere. And these kind of people, they flatter you. Flattery is very dangerous. It's very dangerous, flattery. Oh, you're
Mm.
so beautiful. Oh, here's a gift. Saying, "Oh, I'll buy a painting of yours." I caught her in so many lies in this trip in Paris, and the truth is always revealed. And as far as I know, she was employed by my family the whole time. I'm talking to the investigator tomorrow in France to tell them what happened. So I get to my hotel and I made a very dumb mistake. I told her to meet me at my hotel.
Mm.
So she knew where I was staying. Now, this woman read the timeline. She's followed my Instagram. She plays dumb, but she's not dumb. What were her intentions? I see her. She gives me a pair of stilettos. You know, this is a spiritual war. I haven't fought these demons with their evil. I fight it with the light. You understand?
Yes.
So she gives me a pair of stiletto high heels. And we go for a pizza. And here's a woman pretending to have more money than she actually does, which is a manipulation tactic,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes.
offering to buy me a pizza, taking advantage of my vulnerable situation, taking advantage of that I'm lonely, living in hiding, etc. Thank God she doesn't know where the farm is, but she knew where my hotel in Paris was. We
Mhm.
go to have pizza again, as if I didn't have to say it again. No pictures. That night, I'm happy I didn't know what she posted on her Instagram. That night, because she told me how long it had been up, 20 hours, as if she could have done anything more dangerous. She posts a photo of herself sitting in my hotel lobby and tags me.
Oh.
When I have a statement that powerful people are asking for recent photos of me, and she's made sure in the past 5 months to take a lot of photographs with me, and me knowing that they have eyes on me, know I've been hanging out with this depraved individual. Sounds pretty suspicious, no? Like I'm still shaking.
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to understand, they can't sue me because I haven't committed any crimes. All they need is someone to give up my location and shoot me in the head.
Mm.
They've hit, they've hit me with trucks. They've given me brain injuries. They've beaten me to death. Not, these people don't understand boundaries or laws. They're assassins. So I didn't know it was there the night before my photo shoot. I went to my shoot. I did very well. I'm very professional when it comes to my work. I had a very bad feeling. On my way back from the photo shoot, I called her. Oh, let's go eat something. And I looked on my Instagram and I saw the picture of her sitting in the lobby tagging me. My heart, and I'm still recovering, was like, at this moment, I said, when did you put that up? She goes, oh. I'm like, now you book me another hotel and get me a car, right? I knew I couldn't stay one moment longer in that hotel. You know, here I just finished a 10-hour day. This fucking depraved individual, what she just did to me. And I realized she's probably been working for the family the whole time. So here I am sitting in the car. My heart's like this. I don't know if I exit the car, if someone's not going to just go like that,
Yeah.
like terror. I go in, I get my suitcase. She gets a hotel. You know, I even afraid to walk out. I get to the hotel. You know, I can't even look at this woman. Fake lips, fake boobs, no soul, you know, like mimicking everything I do, just saying all the time, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. I mean, just like a vampire. I just share a bed with her. Her name's Veronique. And I'm telling the authorities about her. And I just felt so icky and I just prayed. Then I told her to leave in the morning. I said, I need time to myself. And, you know, deflecting. Here I am. She just put me in the line of fire and she starts crying. No, I'm still traumatized. So then I go, okay, you know, I've survived assassination attempts before. How am I going to deal with this? I'm like, she had my SAG award, my Best Actress award for Choke. I'm like, I'm going to go to her house, get my shit, and make that plane back home and cut off. And another friend of hers that I don't know if it was a spy, but she told me to hang out with her. No one is to be trusted. And, the kind of people they sent to do their very dirty work tended to be these women without boyfriends, you know,
Mm-hmm.
unhappy, insecure women to do their evil deeds, vain, satanic energies. I go to her apartment and her whole life was a lie. The apartment was the size of a shoebox. She didn't have money. She wouldn't have been able to afford a painting. It was all lies. And she
Mm.
was probably sent by my family. So I cried. I got my award. My therapist talked to me in the car. He calmed me down. I made my flight. I'm home safe. I dodged a bullet.
Thank God you're safe. Oh,
And I'll give another update. My manager, who I won't disclose his name, because they are looking for me, he received a letter from Judith. Yes, I'm telling you, they're very dangerous. They can't sue me, but they can find me. He received a letter from her, and he is not corrupt, and he's a good man. He saw the bruises on my body 4 years ago when I ran away, and he knew I was being abused, and he wanted to help me. Now, he took a photo of the letter, and the letter's ridiculous. She says there's $500 for me to get. This bitch trafficked me and stole millions of dollars. Okay, no, you're going to jail and is an assassin. So, you know, my manager is not evil. He put the letter in an envelope and just said return to sender, wrong address. That's a good person. I blocked the demons from Paris. They will never have access to me. But this is just, I just dodged a bullet. I can't dodge any more bullets. I've been through too much.
of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Paz, tell me, when was the first time in your life that you asked for legal help? And how old were you? Do you remember what happened at that time?
The first time I believe I remember having a lawyer was Marty Singer. And Marty Singer told me when Lana Del Rey put that footage of me in her video to sue her. But I had just been hit by a truck and I was fighting for my life and going to doctors, and Judith made me homeless. I didn't have time to sue Lana Del Rey. I was like suffering. These people have preyed on my purity. And I will tell you something. Angels get angry too. And they have pushed me too far. They have pushed me too far. I have deserved none of this.
Yes, Paz. So that was the first
Let's
time.
clear our energy for a moment after telling you these stories, because trust me, like I'm actually about to start a film project, and what happened in Paris was so terrifying. These people are blocked, and I'm going to speak to the authorities in France about it. You know,
Of
I
course.
dodged a serious bullet. So I just want to like go in the light for a moment. Yeah, look at that tree. We're safe. We're safe. Yeah,
Paz, in our previous episode, you used the phrase, they tried to erase me. What
yeah.
did being erased look like in real, everyday terms?
I mean, they tried to euthanize me, like kill me. And not only that, they even went as far as having on the internet, you know, unrecognizable photographs put up of me, defamed me, humiliated me, ruined my career. All of this for jealousy. I was trafficked by very unattractive, ugly women. And, beauty is inner.
Of
Beauty is inner.
course, of course.
I know I have a lot of female friends, and they're all healers. They're all healers. And I decided a while ago that I wasn't going to try to find my voice amongst people in Hollywood anymore or the fashion industry because Michael Rebo was my therapist and he loved me the most. And he told me before he died that I was to become a healer. And when I follow what he tells me to do, I'm in the light.
You say you were labeled unstable to discredit you, right? What was it
Well,
like
they had,
watching the world form an opinion about you that didn't match your reality?
well, of course it didn't match my reality because I had no control over my life. The people who had control over me were the people who were trafficking me and who were trying to scare me to not expose them. And they were, I've said it before, there's a difference between being a drug addict, there's a difference between being crazy, and there's a difference between being injured.
Hmm.
I was injured. 300 milligrams of Seroquel is enough to kill a horse. This was the second assassination attempt, and Judith and Christina paid Aaron Filler to give me that. It took me 7 years to recover. Okay? I don't have one pill in my system. I have an incredible therapist that cures people with cancer that don't get relief from chemotherapy at the most prestigious wellness center in Florida.
Hmm.
I listened to everything Michael told me before he died because any person can be paid off. You can't pay off an animal. This is why I surround myself with all these dogs. I'm
When,
certainly not crazy, and I'm certainly not a drug addict. And anything that was negatively portrayed about me in the media was a lie. And it was whilst I was under the control of the people that wanted to harm me.
hmm. When you were a child, did anyone in your extended family or close circle ever notice that something, wasn't right? Did
Yes,
anyone?
I was thinking about this the other day. So I had I was like telling you about the Darvo techniques and those things
Hmm.
that are so evil. I did have at certain points a couple of ethical therapists that knew the truth, that knew I was being abused, that wanted to help me.
Hmm.
For example, there was one called Michelle Asher Dunn in New York on the Upper West Side. And this is while I was being, 13, I was being trafficked to Weinstein. She wanted to adopt me because that really is the only answer to getting away from a narcissist. Um, there's no healing to be done.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
just gotta, you either
Save yourself. Mm.
you have to either be rescued
Um,
or run away.
or run away, yes. Later in your life, after you were no longer a child, like when you were still being abused or controlled, did you ever
Yeah.
share what was happening with anyone?
Yeah, Michael Rebel was, the only ethical therapist. Jack
What about your
Nicholson,
friends? Mm.
J- Jack Nicholson, a few times he'd let me stay at Mulholland to give me I needed a safe place. And, I remember when I started hanging out with Jack, we would go to the Carlisle Hotel, where I also lived with my father as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad did all sorts of things to me in that hotel. He would rape me, he would beat me, he would get me drunk, and anytime I'd scream and the security would come, he'd just hand them a wad of cash and they'd go away. And I remember once Jack, because Jack stayed there, we were at the Carlisle, and I told him the things that went on there, and I recognized the security guard from my childhood that I had run out onto the street, and I said, I said, why didn't you help me? And he said, kid, it's going to get a lot worse. And I told Jack this story, and he had him fired. So Jack tried to protect me. He also told me to promise to write a book about my life. And I think he made me make this promise because Jack too was an orphan like me. He understands being abandoned, things like that. I think he made me promise to write it because he wanted me to stay alive. He knew my creativity would keep me alive.
Mm. As it did.
It has, yes. But now,
Yes.
I can't believe that I fell for what just happened in Paris. I have to forgive myself and let it go. I'm safe now. And, thank God for my therapist and thank God for my manager, plus the evidence my manager calls me last night about the letter from Judith. Why these people are so satanic. Oh, and I will note, Judith cannot get her voice memo off the government page. It's there, and it's there to stay. She probably had a lawyer make a case, and I believe they denied it. I've had people look into it.
Paz, you've said your early 20s were the only time you chose drugs yourself.
Yes.
When did you get clean? And what made you decide enough was enough?
When the truck hit me, I had a spiritual experience. I did die, and I saw my innate, and I said, I want to live, and I want to be my innate, meaning whole, clean, pure. And that's when I vowed to live, and I didn't want to take drugs. But then the irony was I was in so much physical pain because I had just been injured. So then the irony was I went to go get clean, but then I had this horrible physical pain and I needed pain pills for the
Mhm.
physical pain. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But I did manage. This is so tragic,
mm,
I managed to, Aaron Filler, who I'm suing now in LA. Yes, Aaron Filler. In fact, the lawyers I retained spoke to him yesterday. This guy's insane. They've confirmed that. And I've told all my lawyers to file for orders of protection against all of these demons because they're demons. Um, yeah, so he was the doctor and
mhm.
he gave me the surgery that relieved me, removed my tailbone that was hitting into a nerve, and I awoke with no pain. And then I got off the pills. And then the night before the third hearing of the Lionsgate case, I was blackmailed into taking 300 milligrams of Seroquel, which was the second assassination attempt, which took me 7 years to recover from. And then they were keeping me from my money. And if that wasn't enough, drugging me. Oh, it's a miracle I'm alive. A million times over. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so unbelievable. And what's so unforgivable is so many people's, I mean, what can you even call it? Inhumanity, because people have just shown me how vile they are. In fact, in the long run, now that I'm very clear that my mission is to become a healer in my life, I'm not interested, I do love modeling, I do love acting, I love painting, but for me, it's always been about healing anyways. And I'm only interested in artists like Jack Nicholson and maybe and Gina Rowlands and others that approach the craft like that.
Mhm.
But I'm not interested in living in the royal family or Hollywood. I'm interested in normal people who are not spiritually bankrupt.
Of course. Paz, throughout your time in the industry, have you ever witnessed someone else being abused but felt unable to speak out?
Well, I will say in those mental hospitals that they put me in, I saw a lot of people being abused.
Hmm.
Oh, a lot of girls with similar stories to me. And you know what? That's changed my mission in life.
Hmm.
I actually formed some very interesting, as much as I was abused in those places, I also did form some special friendships of people I've kept in touch with.
How does that make you feel now, seeing so many survivors finding their voices?
I'm happy this is being exposed finally. I'm exhausted. I have not known who to trust. My life has been in danger. It's not fair.
No, it's not.
It's 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 I was I have been so incredibly brave, and enough is enough. I had a birthday. Why couldn't these people leave me alone? I have had so many men in love with me. All I've wanted in my life was a normal, simple life, a happy family, and a child. They murdered two kids of mine. Anytime I had a boyfriend, they put me in a mental hospital. They wanted to sabotage any chance of mine at freedom. And they've pushed this so far that I will literally sue everyone that I have to sue to protect myself. And I haven't committed any crimes to ensure that I am safe and that my real story is told. I want a house. And you know what I will do with the money? Because my purity is important to me, because they wanted me to become bitter. They wanted me to become anger. The anger I feel right now
Hmm.
is the anger of the angels. It's Saint Michael. It's Archangel Michael. With the money I get, I will have orphanages. And
Yeah,
this is
it's
how
a
I will keep
difference.
my energy clean.
Hmm. Paz, in
Mm.
one of your posts, you mentioned Virginia Giuffre
Yeah, this poor
writing.
woman.
I'm sure Virginia went through the same thing. Can you share what went through your mind when you learned about her story and her tragic ending?
I know she was murdered. It's terrible. What can I say? She's an angel. I let here my safe place, this farm. A lot of people die, and I do like little rituals because I actually have a very I've survived so many assassination attempts. It's like I'm already dead. Um, I speak to the dead, so I had a little. I'm fighting her fight, definitely. I know she was murdered. They don't leave you alone. They don't leave you alone. Yeah.
So, in connection to what you've shared about Virginia, what are your thoughts on Ghislaine Maxwell and the broader system that enabled such abuse?
It's horrifying. It's evil. And the women to me are more evil than the men.
Yeah, you've said that
Because,
before. Why?
yes,
Why?
all my
Because
traffickers were these evil, jealous women. And it's very simple. My mother was jealous. My father was in love with me. It's that simple. Christina was jealous of me. Her mother didn't want her to have any money. I had one evil mother. I didn't need two. And she's deeply in the Epstein files. In fact, she shared the same lawyer as Epstein. There's conversations between Epstein and William d'Isabel, who is in charge of the trust of Aimé de Heron, which is my aunt, who I love, who Christina bragged about tapping her phone lines and stealing all that money. What else? He took interest in buying the house on 90th Street and the house in Palm Beach, both properties stolen. So Ghislaine is no different than Judith and Christina. Why is the woman worse? Because you look to a mother to protect you, not to
Yes.
not to exploit you, not to steal from you, not to assassinate you. Yeah, the betrayal of women was much worse to me than men. And I wish I had an awareness when I was younger about my beauty. You know, I'm very innocent. You know, people have told me that. And I keep telling you, beauty is in her. But the reaction this has gotten me in my life has been very dangerous. I've needed protection. I wish I knew sooner in my life, like, you know, a woman like that therapist, Michelle Asher Dunn, you know, she wanted to adopt me, but Judith had control over the purse strings. So the second someone tried to help me, she'd take me away from them. Yeah. No, my only regret in life is not having run away sooner. But I was always, they handicapped me financially, so they made it virtually impossible.
Of course. When you don't have access to money, running away.
Yeah, how are you supposed to?
Yes.
Exactly.
So, another question that I would like to ask you is, former Prince Andrew was recently arrested in connection to the Epstein scandal. How does it feel to see someone of such power, finally facing investigation? And what does that mean to survivors?
Well, I think it should give survivors hope. And I'm searching to build a better legal team in France, because Arnaud Brunel is the brother of Jean-Luc Brunel. This is Epstein's best friend. And this is my father's best friend, his brother, and the financier of Epstein. So all these people have been involved in wanting to hurt me. I mean, there's no way, every which way, my family is connected to Epstein. Arnaud Brunel is literally my dad's best friend. They live together in Normandy. Like, they share a property.
Paz, when was the last time that you saw your father or your mother?
My father tried to kill me the night of September 10th, 2021 in Madrid. I have the photos of the bruises. I started to make a TikTok because I have no idea why my book is taking so long. And I decided to take my power back and make my story public. He tried to kill me. I had dinner in Madrid. I was being trafficked in a under 50 euro a night hotel in Madrid. Here you have a woman, Christina, with $600 million, and I have emails of Judith saying, please find a hotel under 50 euros. This is horrifying. And I had to have pain blocks on my vagina because I was being raped every night. And the doctor in Madrid gave them to me for free, because as if being raped every night wasn't enough, they left me in pain afterwards. Oh, yeah. It's so deeply like I know it's very it's so
It's disturbing.
evil, evil what I've been through. And they kept having my Instagram deleted. So I was isolated. The only place I was safe was church. I just sat in church. Nobody would help me. Everybody, my entire life, has only seen me as an opportunity to take money to harm me.
That's so sad, Paz.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
sad.
really sad.
And and most of my traffickers were these evil women that did these things. And this is why Michael, before he died, he made a bunch of recordings that I have that I've been playing on my TikTok. And he told me to trust animals. And I ran away. I even after I removed filler, took the settlement, I rented an apartment in Madrid, but I wasn't safe. So I ran away to, I'm sure they know the country I'm in by now because that last girl was a spy, but they don't know where the farm is. I don't even know the address of the farm. And I rescued this beautiful dog. Let me show you her. Her name's Carmelita. And I'll tell
Carmen?
you something really funny.
Yeah.
When I rescued her, the police in this country shoot dogs
Hmm.
pretty bad. Carmelita, princesa. They're all white, my dogs.
Yeah, I've seen them on your Instagram.
Yeah, they're
They're so
very.
beautiful.
Anyway, I rescued her, and I had taken the plant medicine, which was the beginning of my freedom. And Carmelita, can't find her, sorry.
No, don't worry. She will appear at some point.
Yeah.
Paz.
No, I thank a
Yes.
journalist like yourself and Scott because um the intro to my memoir, which I've written, it said something like, I was hit by this truck and I woke up and there were just people, and nobody registered I was a human being. And that's how I've felt my whole life. So much that I have invested myself into spiritual practice deeply. But I'm starting to, Michael knew me the best. He understood me the most, and he knew the desires of my heart. And he told me that I was to become a healer. So if I keep that in mind, everything is divinely protected by God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, I have to say that I'm not a journalist. I'm an actress. I'm an artist. But
Yeah, but
like
you
so
have your
many others,
podcast.
I will continue to support your right to speak your truth. I mean, I truly hope that you find the closure you need. Live the fulfilling life you deserve.
Well, they don't leave me in peace. What they've done is so evil that I do need to keep speaking out until I get
Of
proper legal
course.
counsel.
Of course.
It's a matter of safety. It's safety.
Yes. Yes. But now that more people are aware of your story, how does it
Yeah.
feel to see, the support and understanding from
Um,
others? Do you feel that you're finally able to receive the love and care you didn't have in the past?
yeah, it's part of the healing. I'm starting to feel like there are good people out there that understand I'm a human being and I haven't deserved this. And the support helps. I'm starting to cry more. I'm starting to let myself feel. And that's a part of healing. And,
Mm.
a- eh, like I said, my anger is a righteous anger. I have never deserved these things that happened to me. I came into the world. I'm a child of God and I'm an artist. And it's really unfortunate that so much envy and greed and lust, these sins, really
Yes.
affected my life so negatively. And I'm talented. I've gotten 3 acting awards. I sell my paintings. I've just wanted to be left alone. These people don't leave me alone. So alone, I hope to get more support from good people in the industry. Even if my whole career up until my new manager started representing me was trafficking, I'm proud of my work as an artist. I'm not going to sue the directors and photographers. I'm only angry with any director and photographer that hasn't supported me.
Hmm. Paz, now, given what we know now about Epstein and his network, um, did you ever come across stories from other victims or hear about situations like this from people in the industry?
Well, I knew that girl, Rachel Handler. She was in New York and
Hmm.
she was a trafficker. And I didn't like her. She was very nasty to me. These people have aligned themselves with the wrong God. I think she has a baby with this guy, this artist I knew. I mean, what do? They don't care about human lives or the damage they do. They just take money and use people. They don't have any talents of their own.
Hmm.
We're just really depraved people. So I witnessed her, other girls being trafficked. Now I'm starting to meet more victims, right? And trying to give them advice about how to get safe and stay safe. Yeah.
And recent revelations about satanic rituals and abuse involving children and young women
Mm.
have shocked many. Given your experience, what are your thoughts on this? And does it resonate with anything you witnessed or endured?
Oh yeah. I think in my artwork, I I've always painted since I'm a little girl. I saw things very clearly. Like I have one painting that says how I replaced every memory of my evil mother with the Virgin Mary. My parents had me operated on 12 at 20 days old without anesthesia. It was a ritual, certainly. So if you look at this painting, I have a huge scar here. It's my whole body mutilated and all sorts of terrible things. And I was a sacrifice many times over. Princess Diana, Sharon Tate. I read that uh, Epstein tried to recruit Princess Diana and she didn't want to, and that he was probably involved in her murder. And I believe it. I also, in that statement, where Judith and the family has to find me before Easter. Easter is a very ritual holiday for victims,
Hmm.
and they prey on the purest ones, these Satanists. So, they don't have a set of laws. It's actually, um,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
Lawless.
really horrifying. Princess Diana was very pure. So was Sharon Tate. So was Marilyn Monroe. And I want to live. I've already survived. I just survived another assassination attempt. I want to live. So I have to stay safe. And your question about me finding peace, I want all financial retribution.
Of course. And you deserve it.
And I want to have children that they can't hurt because they made me lose 2 children, and do my best to help other people, which I do already.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
As in Hollywood, many people we admire or think we know may have a very different reality behind the scenes. Without naming anyone, have you ever
Yeah.
seen or experienced people whose public persona was very different from what was really happening?
So, yeah, everyone I mentioned, they put on a face to the world that they're have charities, that they help people. They're liars. It's all about ego. And
Mm.
apparently, my light threatened their ego so much that they didn't care if I died. None of these people, when I was in the hospital fighting for my life, called me to see if I was okay. You know, this is why I understand now I'm a healer. Because, like Michael Rebel, he cared.
Well, you cannot be a healer if you don't care.
Well, they paid so many corrupt doctors and therapists to cover up their crimes, to drug me, to abuse me. So those people are narcissists. They don't care about lives, they care about money. And that's really what Satanists are about. Healers are the opposite. They're about purity, love,
Light? Yes.
light.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Paz, is there anything you regret? Not about what was done to you, but about how you reacted to something
I wish I got angry sooner.
that would have saved you a lot
Yeah.
sooner. Mm.
I wish I got angry sooner. I
What do
wish
you
I did.
believe that kept you from getting angry?
Well, the way they handicapped me financially. And just that I didn't know what love was. I had no perception of anyone ever
Mhm.
caring about me. I think the closest relationships that felt like love were my boyfriends. And they even, sabotaged those. Um, yeah, when you've been abused your whole life, you don't know anything else.
No, no, no better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you now ever struggle to separate who you truly are from the narrative that's been built around you?
No, because now I'm in control over my narrative.
Mm.
And anything that happened 4 years ago was a lie. I was literally a sex slave or being, assassinated or drugged. It was a total lie.
Yeah.
I mean, what wasn't a lie was probably my artwork, was probably my performances, even being abused. I used the craft as a way to heal.
Hmm.
That's why I said at this point, I am not upset with any director or photographer that I've worked with unless they haven't shown me support. I am talented. I have gotten awards.
Yes.
If you wanted Judith and Christina and Carrie Malcolm to get paid for my work, then you should have put Judith on the cover of Playboy.
You're amazing. Oh, Faz.
It's just humor. It's like, this is nuts. Come on, girls. Like, these depraved women just like focus on their own healing and leave me the fuck alone.
Looking ahead in the best case scenario, what do you hope your life will look like 5 years from now?
Oh, well, I was dating this guy
Hmm?
here, but he doesn't want to have another kid.
Why not?
Well, I don't think he, I don't think he can. Um,
Okay.
he's very sexy. but I would, I really do. I will. I have love for him. I would like to buy a home, have a, a baby, a little girl just like me that I'll protect.
I'm
I don't
sure.
know, create like safe places. Like here's this beautiful place that I have. It's been a refuge for me. Nobody has been here except one person, this guy who's making like the documentary.
Hmm.
And here it's the only time I've been safe in my life. Hi, this is Jesus.
Oh, hello. He's so beautiful.
And I would like to help help people. I didn't survive all this insanity to be quiet and look
No,
pretty.
no.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you'd like to share that we haven't discussed? Something you want people to know or understand about your story?
People have to not be so reckless with other people's lives.
Oh.
You know, um, everybody is going to, everybody on earth will meet their judgment day someday. And nobody, no matter how much money you have, is going to escape that.
Mm, yes, that's
So,
true.
with a lot of people who have done me very dirty in my life, you know what you've done, and God sees all, and you're not going to escape it, even if I don't put you in prison, because there's a higher power.
There is. There is.
Yeah.
So, before we finish, I want to let the viewers know that links to your GoFundMe
Yeah, I
page.
do need that because I need to keep being able to retain lawyers to protect myself. I retained a lawyer in LA,
Hmm.
very happy with this lawyer. And I have to be very wise with my legal counsel because there are corrupt lawyers, and I can't afford to have more of those.
No, of course
Yeah.
not. So, the links to your GoFundMe page and your artwork will be
Yeah.
included in the episode description so people can support you and
Thank you.
purchase your paintings. So,
Yeah.
Paz, thank you so much. Thank you
Oh,
so
you're
much.
so beautiful, and I love you.
Um,
I would love to see your movies.
well, okay, then we'll talk and I'll send you a link.
Maybe you know what? I love you so much that I have been working on this movie, Valley of Tears, about my life. And there's one more scene to be shot that I want to shoot in Sintra, which is a castle in Portugal. I'd
Hmm.
love to give you a role in it.
Well, thank you so much, Paz.
Yeah,
That would be an honor.
yeah. I would love to give you a role. Okay.
Thank you.
And Greece is not so far from Portugal.
Mm. No, no,
Yeah,
no, it's not. It's not.
yeah. Okay.
So I'm sending you my love,
Okay. God
and
bless you.
God bless you too, Paz. And to all of
Okay.
you out there, remember, Paz was here.
Oh,
Ego was
sweetie,
here.
thank you.
You were here. And that's enough.